Welcome to YogaMass Awakening with Gena Davis. Hi, I'm Gena Davis, the founder of YogaMass and co-creator of this amazing, unique, and participatory worship experience that we co-created together. I'm here with the Reverend Dr. John K. Graham, and he and I and our teams have come up with this amazing experience of YogaMass. And so I want to welcome you, John. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
So, first of all, I just want to say you are a doctor and you're also an Episcopal priest. So can you tell us a little more about that?
Yes, I'm happy to. When I was about 35, I had one of those life-changing encounters with God that turned my life upside down. At the time, I was a plastic surgeon, so I became an Episcopal priest in 1994.
And so now you are the president and CEO of the Institute for Spirituality and Health at the Texas Medical Center. So it seems as though you are still totally doing God's work.
Well, the beautiful thing about it is it brings together my medical experience as well as my spiritual experience in the Episcopal Church. So I never would have thought there was an institute called the Institute for Spirituality and Health, but there is in Houston. And by God's grace, I am now president and CEO of that institute. And have been for 8 years.
Wonderful. And a couple of years ago, we met. And this was back about 3 years ago in the fall. And we met and had lunch. And I was telling you about this vision, this dream that I had to bring together yoga and Christianity and to start a service where we actually would worship on our yoga mats. And your eyes immediately lit up. So can you just tell me, why was YogaMass something that you wanted to be involved with from the moment that you heard about it?
Well, I love the creativity of bringing the two things together. We have yoga studios all over the city and all over our nation and world, but I think in America it's been more like an exercise. You go to lose weight or to get in good physical condition. And to bring together the spiritual dimension is actually, I think, what was intended for yoga originally in India. But we kind of moved past that. So it was like just a revelation to me that you would have had the courage and also thought to bring together the two, bring together yoga and an Episcopal Mass service, a Holy Communion service. I love the idea. So that's why I immediately said, yes, absolutely, go do it. We got to do it.
And it's been such a wonderful journey since we started. And so now that we've been doing it together monthly, sometimes 2 or 3 times a month, I'm curious, why is YogaMass still so important to you to be a part of and to participate in as we come together to co-celebrate at the table?
Well, I think I just feel like, because I do have a medical background and a spiritual background in the Episcopal Church, that I do feel it gives meaning and purpose to my life to be a part of this, and I think it's helpful to YogaMass. I want it to prosper. I want everybody to know about it in this nation. So if it helps, as long as it helps for someone who has a medical background to be a part of this, and also the spiritual background I do, I want to be there.
That's beautiful, and I'm so glad that you are. Thank you. Thank you. And so you're describing YogaMass as something that is helpful, and it's different and more than a traditional worship experience, and you're coming at it from the perspective of a doctor who is trained in multiple disciplines, and now you're working on another master's in mind-body medicine. And so with YogaMass being something that integrates mind-body medicine into it, I'd like you to just help us all, help our hearers understand the mind-body connection in medicine and wellness, and how YogaMass really incorporates that. So what is that about?
Yeah, I'd happy to do so. First of all, I would say that we all have heard of the mind-body connection, that our minds are connected to our body, and I don't think we really perhaps most of us really even think about it. How does that happen? It happens largely because the brain is connected to the rest of your body through the autonomic nervous system. You have a nervous system that controls, say, your blood pressure to raise it or lower it according to your activity needs. That is the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. And because we often have trauma in our life, or we have stress, we have pressure that causes us to be more anxious than we'd like to be, but we are. The autonomic nervous system is autonomic. I mean, it's beyond your conscious awareness, and it picks up those cues from your brain, from your perception, and also even perhaps from your memories, things that you have stored in your brain. This is a dangerous situation. So your autonomic nervous system comes alive, and we need to know ways to manage our stress, manage our this reality of our bodies. We need to be in touch with our physical body as well as our brains and our minds. We're in a culture that's very much we read, we think, we ponder, we make decisions with our cortical brain, our mind. But we don't often think that we would be able to control and have any impact on our physical bodies. We do. And yoga has been shown with many studies to be a modality that we can use with some wisdom and understanding of what's taking place to control the autonomic nervous system, increase the parasympathetic influence, which slows down our heart rate, brings us more into homeostasis, that is, into balance in our bodies, a physical balance. And so that's what I support. I support every way we can do that. And there are many mind-body medicine modalities or skills that we can learn to do that, like a certain way that you can breathe that will do that, but also meditation, mindfulness, Tai Chi, and yoga is really the traditional one out of from its very origin to help us to relax. And the thing about putting, if you will, the mass, the spiritual influence, and mixing the two together, what you think and believe will affect your body. So if you think and believe, a Mass, a Holy Communion service, in fact, the whole of YogaMass, which is really worship in the body, worship in the mind, and in the spirit, well, it's going to be healthy. It's going to be a very positive thing in your life. So that's what I see.
So that's a real twist, I think, on a traditional worship experience or expectation. So it seems to me as though worship has historically been about devotion and love of God. And so there's an introduction of something a little different here. It's more than love of God and devotion. There's also this health impact and this well-being impact of the person that's actually offering the worship. There's a benefit, a holistic benefit to health and well-being for the individual. And that seems new to me. Because that seems like a new discovery.
Well, I think it is. I think when I say new, when you say new, I think it's an ancient, practice, yes, as far as yoga is. And it was understood, as I believe, to be a spiritual practice in India where it originated. But we are discovering it anew and afresh. And what I like about it personally, because I'm an Episcopal priest, is this is a Christian service. Now, that doesn't mean only Christians can participate. Anyone can participate. And what we've seen, as you know, is many, particularly young people that aren't church-going right now. They aren't. Maybe they did when they were little, but they don't as an adult. They come to the service and often cross their arms over their heart and receive a blessing. But you can see in their face that they're powerfully impacted by this bringing together of the spiritual dimension as well as the yoga, which is that physical movement. And physical movement is all the movement exercises that we do are healthy and promote health, but to add the dimension of the spiritual is to me what is powerful about the YogaMass.
And that speaks so much to my heart, because one of my deepest passions is for wholeness and healing and integration of the full human experience of all that we are: emotional, psychological, physical, mental, the mind, body, spirit, soul connection. That is so hugely important to address how we approach all of life. Right? And if we approach life in a holistic way, then we begin to see with new eyes. If we approach worship in a holistic way, we begin to experience worship in a whole new way. And it does seem like that's what's happening with the people who come, right? Who are experiencing it with us. And so we don't...
what I like is you've also given permission for people to sit on the sides if they don't have the courage to get on the mat, or maybe they're older, or they have some physical difficulty in doing the yoga part of the service, but they can participate in the entire. And it's beautiful to see them watching, but also lifting their arms, moving while they're sitting in a chair. Mm-hmm. And then they participate in the Holy Communion as well. So it's a beautiful opportunity for people, no matter what their situation in life is. They don't have to be young people that are already doing yoga on their mat. They can be anyone that wants to experience what is a very creative and new form of worship, if you will.
So you don't have to do headstands to do yoga. So.
I'm very grateful for that. And I have noticed what we've been doing it, a year and a half, 2 years, and what I've noticed when I first started doing yoga with you, I thought, this is too difficult, But now, after a year or two of doing it, I pretty well can, I think, do most of the movements that you invite us to participate in, and that's pretty neat when at my age.
That's beautiful. So what is your age?
Well, I'm 80 years old.
80 years old. And that is so wonderful. So you're seeing the health benefits as you step out of YogaMass. You have more flexibility, more ability to move the body. And so I just want to say, I've had people say to me that the photos on our website, YogaMass.com, of you doing the yoga. You're wearing black, I'm wearing white. There you are doing yoga. Someone doing YogaMass at your age, you are an inspiration for so many people. And you're saying you can do this, and even if you just lift your arms and you don't have perfect form, it's okay.
Yes,
you are where you are, and it's beautiful.
And there are always individuals out there doing yoga with us that don't have have a lot of experience with yoga. So I'm hoping that I might encourage them that you don't have to be perfect. And here you are right next to me doing it virtually perfect. No. And at any rate, it looks perfect from my standpoint. And but there are also individuals in the group that do it extremely well, and others that are struggling like me.
So it's amazing. We have yoga teachers that come. We have clergy that come. We have people from all the neighborhoods around the city. People drive in from other cities in the state of Texas. When we've traveled, we've had people come from various aspects around town. So it's not localized to a particular community. We offer it Saturdays at 5 p.m. so that it's not in conflict with Sunday morning worship. And it is usually a group of people that are coming from all walks of life, all different denominations and faith traditions. So would you say that yoga is for everyone? Is YogaMass something everyone can participate in?
Absolutely. The question makes me try to think who couldn't do it if they if they, had a physical disability, they might could certainly use the chairs that is, as I mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see people in a wheelchair staying in their wheelchair and just participating. So yeah, and then you would also have the communion service, the mass service. So it would make it a wonderful experience.
I'm thinking about the various places that we've had YogaMass. We're not restricting it to a particular location, a particular community, or even a particular building. We're moving around so that many people can have the experience, and that's not a traditional way in the church, but it's a way for us to allow people to have the experience of opening their bodies. And so you talked about that medical component of like getting down to the cellular memory level. When we open our bodies, we reach deep in, even if we're not aware of the changes that are happening. There are physiological changes that happen in the body that affect the mind and the soul and the spirit. It's all connected. So can you talk a little bit about that interconnectivity, that the piece of the word connection, the interconnectivity of all of us? So we do yoga and all of a sudden we're freed.
Right.
Of mental.
Social engagement is a term that I've come to learn in my study of mind-body medicine. We are designed to be socially connected to people, to have social interaction with our face-to-face meeting of people, but it also, in particular, happens in a group. Social engagement in a group setting is very healthy, very much promotes. What we learn from one another is we are reflecting, well, at the end of the service and before it even starts, we're hugging, okay? So we're greeting one another face to face. That in itself is incredibly healthy. So I would say if you were at home doing yoga on your mat by yourself, it would not be near the experience of doing it together. And then on top of it, not just doing the movements, which are wonderful and does incorporate the entire body. You can't move your muscles without thinking with your brain, and without you can't, when you invite us to lift our hands to the heavens and to put our hands over our heart or in the prayer position, you can't do that without pondering and thinking of the spiritual dimension, but also that and you're looking and seeing all of us doing it together is a powerful social engagement, if you understand me. And it is one of the prerequisites to healthy body physiologically. It's very important. That also means it goes from a safe place. We need a safe place. YogaMass is a safe place to experience one another in worship of body, soul, and spirit. I think it's great. I want to ask you a question. Okay, if I was coming and I heard about this, now, can you tell me, if you would, is this a legitimate service in the Episcopal Church? Where did you find this in the liturgy? I go to Episcopal Church and I see Rite 1, Rite 2, but this isn't exactly Rite 1 or Rite 2, is it? Is it permitted?
It is permitted, and it's called a Rite 3 service in our tradition in the Episcopal Church. Bishop Andy Doyle is the Bishop of the Diocese of Texas, and he authorized YogaMass as an alternative liturgy, a new liturgy that we can use as a Rite 3 service, which means not on Sunday morning, and he authorized it for us to have a creative way of expressing worship. So we are legitimate. We are authorized by the Diocese of Texas, and our experience is that we're having YogaMass in different locations, different Episcopal churches, but also in a Lutheran church, for example. So in various locations with different communities. The experience of YogaMass goes beyond just an Episcopal worship experience. It goes into something that we all as human beings have in common, and that's that need for social engagement and the need to worship something much bigger and beyond us that is giving us life, the creator of life, to worship God.
All right, now wait a minute. What if I was Muslim or Hindu or Buddhist? Would I feel comfortable in your service?
Well, I think you would if you were a Buddhist or a Hindu or a Muslim who was open to experiencing the expression of faith of other people, of your neighbors. So those who are open to experiencing the faith expressions of others can come and have the experience with us, to do the mind-body connection and worship with us, and would not have to be required to participate actually in receiving from the table with Holy Communion. They could be there and come for a blessing. So you and I are the priests. We're the priests there presiding at the table, and we'll offer a blessing to whoever comes forward for that. And after the service, so even during the service, we share peace with each other. And how beautiful is it to share peace with all walks of life, with people from all faith traditions. So if there is a Hindu in the room who loves yoga and who is very interested in how we are worshiping in this way, and we go to that person or they come to us and we share the peace with them, the peace, this is a way to break down walls, to share peace. It's beautiful. So everyone is welcome.
I'm so glad you said that, because I do believe in my heart one of the most important things we can be doing today is reaching across boundaries that have really separated people for centuries, in fact, brought on wars. And if we can break down those walls and barriers between one another, I think God would be very pleased. I think that is our challenge today. And YogaMass, in a way, because it had its origin in eastern area of the world, it breaks down walls and barriers immediately, I think. So I really appreciate that. Gena, we've seen people, new people coming to the service every time we do it. They come from everywhere. They're finding it on the web. They show up with their mat wherever we are, or they come to observe. I think I'm really feeling like YogaMass could be a movement that would spread across our land and bless so many people and bring so many people together in a way that they've not, including particular young adults that don't normally go to a church setting but really are seeking spirituality in their lives. So I am so honored to be a part of it. I'm so glad you showed up at our office that day and asked me, what do you think about bringing together yoga and the Mass, service of the Eucharist service of Mass? And I am so glad that happened.
I am so grateful also, and I'm grateful that you said yes. It's such a huge passion for me, and I am so honored to be doing this with you. It has been an incredible journey. It's so important to me that I stepped out of a traditional role in a church to be the leader of YogaMass and to help share the message of YogaMass, that this mind, body, spirit, soul connection is something that is very real. It is reality, and we're all hungry for the connection with each other and with God. Even if we don't really use those words to say it, we're hungry for those connections.
Oh, yeah.
And to bring it together and have the experience is just been such a journey and such an honor, and I'm so, so grateful to be in this with you. So thank you so much. Thank you, John, for your blessing and the grace
honor.
that you bring.
Thank you.
Well, God bless you. And so let's just invite everyone who wants to join us. YogaMass.com has all of our upcoming experience dates and when we'll be having it, both in Houston and elsewhere. We're going to be at the Parliament of World Religions in Toronto in November, and that exact day and time is yet to be announced. But we're very excited to be going to Canada to share YogaMass. And so we're open for any churches that would like to host us, for us to come over and have the experience with you and your community. We're open, so YogaMass.com is the way to reach us. Thank you so much, everyone. God bless. Take care. Bye-bye.